Ridley Scott's second movie of 2021, House of Gucci. Man, there's been so much hype for this. I felt like there was no way this was going to live up to expectations. I mean, obviously a huge cast. Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Jeremy Irons, Pacino, Salma Hayek, a lot of big names. So going in, it's like, okay, I got this awesome cast, got an interesting story, Ridley Scott at the helm. This better be great. And Dave, was it great?
I had a lovely time with House of Gucci. It's not as good as The Last Duel, which deserved way more people showing up to see it. But House of Gucci is still pretty fun. You know, it's kind of a part crime film, part family drama, a lot of camp going on, but still very well made, as we expect from Ridley Scott. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. This was, it's interesting. I didn't actually think about if I liked this more or less than The Last Duel. Certainly, I think in terms of my own personal taste and the kind of stories I like to watch, I think I liked the story more. Especially like I find the 1980s much more interesting than medieval times. But I've definitely thought about The Last Duel a lot since seeing it. I have to sit with that question a little bit more.
Screenplay wise, The Last Duel is very impressive.
Yeah. And you mentioned like the campiness of it, and this is certainly a movie that I think is like in on the joke of itself. It's like telling the story of the fall of the Gucci family dynasty within the Gucci brand. It's been told many times before this, based on a book from 2010, The House of Gucci, a sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed by Sarah Gay Forden. My apologies for the mispronunciation there. But it definitely feels like everybody in here is like kind of mocking the lavishness and the lifestyle and the way things went down here. But I actually thought like there were some real moments of like sorrow and sadness and just really like heartbreak, especially surprisingly really loved Al Pacino's performance. Not that I thought he was gonna give a bad performance, but like the way he was able to like tone it down, especially in like the boardroom or like the lawyer meeting near the end, and like really made me feel sad for some of the characters. I was like, huh, this movie might have a little bit more under the hood than I first expected. Did you have that same feeling too?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see in a movie with a lot of over the top stuff, to see Al Pacino not being at the forefront of that. I like that. That was just unexpected, you know. I'd say like the movie's quite long, like script wise, like we probably could have toned this down a little bit, just because I think the ending is not as strong as the rest of the film, but you have just a lot of really likable pieces going on in this movie, and I loved Al, I love Al in general, but he was really good, and it's quite wild how effective Jared Leto is in this film. All latexed up, uglied up as Paolo Gucci. But man, like there's a sense of sadness around his character. There's a lot of comedy with his character and the antics and all that too. But honestly, I think it's one of the best Leto roles in quite some time, because the movie just knows how to use him right. And meanwhile, you have him next to his dad, played by Al Pacino, and Pacino's not on that level, you know. And you have Adam Driver in this, Maurizio, not on that level either. And Gaga is definitely on the level, but like they kind of even it out with the performances and the characterization and stuff. So it's just really fun to be in this story, even if at times it's really campy.
Yeah, Leto had by far the best reception of any actor, I think, in my theater. People just dying at his buffoonery. He's such a ridiculous character, and the way that he plays the guy, the voice pitched up, and he really sounds like, going back to another Tarantino movie, Glorious Bastards, when they're like, pretending to be the Italian people, Dominic De Coco. Like he sounds like that guy a lot of the time, the way he talks. Um, I thought Leto was fantastic, and you know, just totally stole most of the scenes that he was in. But you also mentioned someone else that was toning it up, Lady Gaga. Did you like her performance? I felt like she was definitely throwing 100. I just wasn't sure if she was hitting all the corners for me. Did you like it?
Yeah, no, I think without this performance, you don't have the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
And I don't care about the accents, man. I don't really care that the accents
No.
aren't good. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to me at all because the energy is there, and obviously it's a very different performance from her Gaga in A Star Is Born 2018, obviously. But you kind of need her to set the tone. I think she does a really good job of descending into a bit of manicness at the end as her fortunes change in terms of her, you know, presence in the Gucci family and all that. Um, yeah, I like the scene where she discovers the prevalence of knockoff Gucci products available for affordable
Mhm.
prices. The way she handles that, I think that moment, that scene is really good when it's played off of uh, Pacino's reaction to the same knowledge.
Yeah. No, it's super effective, that scene. And I agree. Even though I don't know if I totally loved her performance, I think it's because I was expecting more of the like seriousness of A Star Is Born, and this was obviously a lot less serious of a role for her. I do think she though drives most of the ship, even though there's a good portion in the second going to third act where she's kind of sidelined for a while up until the stuff between her and Maurizio really comes back. Uh, their relationship issues comes back. I really thought Driver was great. I mean, he's always great, but he's just on like unbelievable heater. I feel like he hasn't really had a bad performance in a movie in a long time. If I can't even really think of the last time I thought he wasn't good in a movie, but he's just like such a good straight man in this and really drives things forward. I felt like, and it's weird because I feel like all these characters, and this is a testament to Scott's direction. You're really rooting for a lot of them, even though you know that the story is tragically going to take a turn. Like, I really wanted to see Maurizio just be happy. I didn't want to see him pulled back into the family. I wanted to see him and uh, Patrizia just like have a nice life together and see it kind of uh, all fall apart is definitely tragic. And like I said, I think that downfall is underscored really well with Pacino's scene when he signs his shares over to um, I don't even know who that guy was.
The head
Silvana
of the
Reggiani or
was it
whatever.
Investa Group, something like that.
Yeah, something
Outside investment that ends up taking
like that.
control of Gucci as it stops being a family-owned business. To
Right.
the driver point, I like how the movie handles the change with Maurizio. Driver is really good at commanding a villainy a lot of times with his physicality, and the movie really subtly has Maurizio change as he cools on his marriage to Patricia. Really liked how that was handled. I also loved seeing Camille Cotin as
Yeah.
his new love interest. She was, of course, really great in
Hola.
Stillwater earlier this year. Seems to really be on the rise in terms of her roles in Hollywood. Of course, the famed French actress. And I think another nice part about this movie too is it was shot on location a lot. They made this year during COVID, not even last year. They made it this year and really just crap this one out. It's honestly really impressive because it looked really good. All those villa scenes and stuff, anything
Dude.
in the Swiss Alps, of course, looks amazing.
The
Lovely to
settings
look at.
are unbelievable. Yeah, the settings, the houses, all the villas, amazing. And I keep looking at your background, Dave, and this just is such an important point. But the movie and all the costumes look like $1 million, just like anyone that's wearing Gucci obviously should. And it's so funny to see Patrizia's downfall because you just start to see her look shabbier and shabbier and shabbier after this like rise from like modest beginnings, and I think it's just done really well, and it really is just like so fun to see these different people from the fashion world pop up in different ways, and not in like a heavy handed way. You see Anna Wintour show up for like a scene.
Mhm.
Tom Ford obviously is in it, as you see Gucci's start of their rise back to prominence and main street streamdom, but it's not really even mentioned. His name isn't even said until he's reading the article about himself later on. Like
Right.
it's just like they kind of just throw these things in. And they're not like, oh look, we have this guy Tom Ford that could be a great person to take a risk on. They're just like, yeah, this guy in Texas. Like I thought that's really well done, and just like
Mhm.
fun to throw those people in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
I
the
was
movie's just fun.
Yeah, totally. I was reading, apparently, the timing of Tom Ford's the show at the end there. Apparently, that actually had happened after Maurizio was already uninvolved
Uh,
with the company. But of course, for dramatic licenses, I like that they changed this.
yeah,
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. I think to some people it's probably overly indulgent, and they probably just can't stand the Leto performance. I totally understand that. It's not the most refined film, not the most refined Ridley film. Again, I think The Last Duel is just a lot more high-minded about it, what it's communicating. But it's a really good time, and it's nice to see this movie have a strong box office over the Thanksgiving week. A lot of women are going to this film as well. It's part of that's probably the Gaga factor, but I think that the marketing is probably quite successful on this movie. It's been we've known of the shot of Driver and Gaga in the ski gear for months at this
oh
point,
yeah,
but it's nice to see an adult drama catch on the way they can in COVID anyway.
totally. I think like my only knock really on the movie is it's a little long. Uh, 2.5 hours. I mean, probably could have cut some aspects of it down a little bit, but overall, that was great. Also, just really wanted to quickly shout out Jack Houston, who
Mm,
I
it's
don't know. I just
Domenico.
thought he really played Domenico really well. It's just like this like ever present, like looming presence in the movie. Also, we didn't even mention Jeremy Irons, but like it's just always a pleasure to see Jeremy Irons. I feel like he's playing the same kind of character recently, but just he plays that like grumpy old man so well. And the scene with him and Paulo, where he just totally eviscerates him and calls him an idiot, is just like gutting, dude. And then he pees
Yeah.
on the thing. I just was like,
Right.
oh man, this is exactly what this movie's going for. So
Yeah.
well done.
Hell yeah. Apparently, actually, Paolo was a little bit more successful than the movie lets on. Of course, he did
Yeah,
have his fate. Obviously, it remains the same. But yeah, I don't care about the liberties. The Gucci family is not too pleased about this story. I'm not surprised either.
yeah,
Tom Ford actually was kind of positive about the film. He pointed out some inaccuracies, but he actually, I think, seemed to like it, which is nice to see. Of course, he is a filmmaker himself. Um, Awards wise, I'm not sure where this is headed. Lady Gaga was nominated for Best Actress last time around for A Star Is Born. We know what to
mm,
expect from Adam Driver in that department as well. I think maybe it's possible. It depends how this movie catches on, but it's probably borderline for Best Picture. Too early to say,
yeah.
honestly.
Uh, it's hard to say. The field is kind of starting to take shape. I mean, we're going to be probably talking about one next week that seems like a lock for it. You imagine licorice pizza, if it continues to get good reviews, probably is a lock for it as well. A few others from this year, so it's probably a fringe one. I'm actually most interested to see if Pacino gets a legacy nom for best supporting, because I really thought he was great in this. Definitely surprised me how great. So I could see that and would hope for him to get some shine there.